Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Sorry I was 15 minutes late. Yeah, just kind of running behind.
That's okay. Definitely next time, if you're running late, feel free to shoot me a message. After students are 15 minutes late, sometimes we are no longer able to see them. And so it's just good to like reach out, establish that you're going to be here, and it's no worries at all. So, how has your week been?
It's been okay. Yeah, just kind of getting through, Kind of missed out on a couple of assignments, but, I think it wasn't worth that much. So, yeah.
Oh no. So, what happened with those assignments?
So I think it's just like, kind of forgot about it. Feel like, I don't know, just lost track of time and stuff. I don't know.
Well, that's actually perfect for our topic today because I really want to talk about time management and planning. So, last session, we talked through the deadline calendar. We did a quick example class, and your homework was to actually bring that completed. So, do you have that today?
I feel like, no, I didn't know it was homework, so I didn't do it. I actually don't even think I have the worksheet anymore. So,
Oh, no. Okay.
yeah.
Well, let me see for starters if maybe we could pull it up together. But yeah, we did talk about assigning it last time. And of course, it's, no worries that you didn't have it today. But do you know what got in the way of you completing it?
I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't helpful. I mean, I just feel like it's not gonna work. Like, I have bad time management skills, and I'm just like, like what's gonna make it better? Like, if I'm the person I am, how am I gonna change?
Wow, yeah. I mean, that is really heavy. And I definitely just want to encourage you to keep in mind that you can always make a change, no matter how, like set in your ways you are. There's always the option to improve and keep working at it. So I think what I would like to do is, why don't we actually do that deadline calendar together right now? How does that sound?
Okay, I mean, if you say it's gonna help, I guess maybe we could try it.
Okay, great. I think it'll be good to just give it a try and then see how successful it is, after we've not only filled it out together, but also maybe used it for a few weeks.
Okay.
Okay, great. So now that we've finished doing the deadline calendar together, I would now like to jump in to what I really want to talk about today, planning and time management. So, for starters, PAC has a really unique way of dividing the things that you're responsible for learning. So, we have time analysis and task analysis. So, task analysis is the form of time management in which you actually break down what tasks you have to do and you just go about those accordingly. While time analysis is focused on the time that you have available. So let's start with the deadline calendar. In the deadline calendar, you write down all of the days of your tests and your assignments. Does that feel more like a task analysis or like a time analysis?
Mm, not really sure.
Right. So it's actually going to fall more into task analysis because we're keeping track of all of the tasks you have to do. That being said, the great thing about the deadline calendar is it's kind of a combination of both, right? Because we also have all those months laid out. So that's going to be kind of our premier task analysis tool that we're going to use. But there's another wonderful one called breaking down large tasks. So if you just give me 1 minute, I will pull this up for us and we can get started. Do you know generally when you're breaking down tasks, do you like to do a task analysis or a time analysis?
Thing is, I feel like I don't really understand how you break a task down. Like, if you're given a problem set, like, you just don't understand, like, why would need to break it down. Like, you just do it, right? So, like, I'm not sure really how it's going to benefit me.
Right. Well, the way that it will benefit you is really by making your tasks more manageable. And that's the great thing about these skills is they're so transferable. So, although you might not need them considering the rigor of your classes right now, you never know when you could be in a more challenging class where this really, really helps out.
Okay.
Wonderful. So, I'm going to share my screen with you. All right. And we are going to go to Planning for Success Weekly Planning. Perfect. So, with the weekly task analysis, we of course have breaking down large tasks. So I know that you said you usually just like to do your task and get it out of the way, but this worksheet is actually a really good way for us to practice breaking down those bigger tasks so they do become more manageable, like we talked about. So, what I'm going to ask is that you come up with a large task that you have any time in the next 2 weeks. So, this could be a test for a class, a big quiz, maybe a project, anything of the sorts.
I think, well, I know I have a project coming up and I haven't started on it, so I guess we could use that.
I think that would be perfect. Yes. So, go ahead and tell me what is the name of the class that you're doing this project for?
So this one's gonna be for my uh, biochemistry class.
Perfect. Great. So, biochemistry project. And is there a specific topic that the project is over at all?
So the professor just said that she wanted us to make a video about how biochem applies to the real world. So we're supposed to like interview somebody.
Okay, that's so exciting. Wow, that's really great. And do you see that as we break down this large task, I'm taking care to be really specific and include as much detail as possible?
Okay, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any idea why that could help us out?
Well, I guess like the more specific it is, the more I can like understand what I'm doing and how I can break it down better, maybe.
Yes, exactly that. Perfect. So now the next part is the due date. Do you know when this video project is due?
It's gonna be due on August 15th.
Okay, great. August 15th. Let's leave it at that. So now, what I would like you to do is think of any and all subtasks for this task. So I'm going to start with a list of 3 subtasks that I think you are probably going to want to do. All right. Keep in mind that these, just like our title, should be as specific as possible. You really want to use a lot of description when you're going into these. So when it comes time to actually do the subtasks, you're able to accomplish all of them. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So for the first one, I think it's really, and I'll zoom in a bit so you can see, I think it's really important that you read the instructions, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's something that is pretty obvious to most of us, but it can still be really important to just make sure that you're aware of the fact that you do need to read the instructions. Great. Next, if you're conducting an interview, you probably have to find an interviewee, right? So
Yep.
that is going to be our next step. Find an interviewee. Now, do you have any general ideas of who you might want to interview?
Nope.
Cool. So, for starters, I think it's a good question to kind of ask ourselves, is find an interviewee the complete subtask, or could we break that subtask down into even greater subtasks?
I guess we could break it down, I guess maybe into like the person or like the type of field I want to like find an interviewer or interviewee in, maybe.
That is such a good idea. Yes. So, what we want to write now is narrow down the field. Perfect. And then once we found a field, let's say that you were going to be working with, I don't know, would doctors be accurate, perhaps?
So think
Perfect. So go to, I will actually just say visit websites and call
okay.
to ask for interview. Brilliant. Now we've got our first 2 big subtasks, find the interviewee, read the instructions. So now let's think of what else we could put in our subtasks. I know I said I'd come up with 3, but I think I've come up with enough. How about you give it a try?
I think maybe I could figure out what software I want to use maybe to film or to edit my video.
Great, find video editing software. Right. And next, you're probably, of course, going to want to edit the video.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And I will say also that you want to film the video. Beautiful. So now what we have just done is conducted our first task analysis. We identified your task, the biochemistry video project interview, and we broke it down into its subtasks. So this is a perfect example of a task analysis, but that being said, you can always make this a little bit more time oriented by actually giving really specific parameters around each of these points. So go ahead and pick any of these subtasks and I'll continue to break it down time-wise with you.
Maybe the video we could break down.
Perfect. So filming the video, you are first going to need to come up with a list of questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now we've just found another subtask. Brilliant, right? Create questions list for interview. So that is going to need to be done first before you know how long it takes to film the video, right?
Yeah.
But one really excellent way that we can, move past that specific length of time is by imposing a new deadline for yourself. So it's due August 15th, and today is August 1st. So let's come up with a day by which you want the video to be completely filmed.
Maybe August 7th, maybe?
I think that's great. Yeah. And I would say that this is probably going to take you to film like an hour. Would you say that that's accurate?
I would say so, yeah.
Great. 1 hour. So, what you can do in your spare time is now go through here and annotate each of these, saying when you want to have it done by, for example, August 7th, and then about how long you think it'll take you, right? This is another really good way to go about breaking down your large task when it feels just insurmountable and really hard to do.
Gotcha. Maybe this is something I should have done this week when I missed out on those 2 assignments,
Yeah, I totally agree. And now, happily for next week, you know to practice this so that you actually are able to get your homework in on time.
For sure.
Amazing. Do you have any questions before we move on?
No, I do not.
Brilliant. So now that that's done, what we're going to do is move into a time analysis. So hopefully you can see this screen. We just conducted task analysis. There we go. Let's go into time analysis. So this right here is a time analysis which you can create as just a essential guide to every single week when you would like to study and specifically when you are available for studying. So how this works is you go through here and you fill in all of the squares which you have class or a job or any obligations in, right? And then once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and talk about what spaces in here you would like to devote to studying time. So let's start with your Monday through Friday class schedule. When are you busy on each of these days?
So I have work from 1 to 3 every single day, or at least every single day.
Okay. Wonderful. Continue.
And then I have class from 9 to 12 from Monday through Thursday.
All right. So we have got you down for class from this time block and for work in this time block right here. So now that we have, all of that put together, let's talk about when you think you would be able to devote time to studying.
So maybe like at like 5 to like 7 maybe.
Okay, cool. And would you want to do that every single day?
Yeah, I think that would work because like org meetings and stuff are usually like at 8. So if I could study maybe before then, maybe my org meeting could like be a motivation or something.
That's so perfect. I think that actually sounds fantastic. So, studying. And now what we've created here is your semester study schedule. So, what we would like to have you do is try to make this 5 to 7 p.m. study time every single week. Does
Mhm.
that feel realistic to you?
I think so. So I have a question. So let's say like I have the schedule and I don't follow it completely. So let's say one day I miss the 5 to 7 p.m. block. Like, what should I do? Should I like do it in the evening when I have time, or do I just skip that day completely?
I think that it's really good to remember that most of your classes are going to be unlocked, as in you're going to unlock a good grade if
Mhm.
you're able to put forth daily practice. So I would really recommend that if that does happen, you miss the 5 to 7 p.m. time slot, that you don't bully yourself over it and you instead just find a time, like you said, sometime later in the evening and still get that studying session in.
Okay, that sounds good.
Perfect. All right. So now that we've done the time analysis and the task analysis, is there either that you felt more drawn to?
Um, I feel like maybe the task analysis, because like I didn't realize you could break tasks down that much. I just saw it as a task, but now I feel like, oh, maybe like my time management will be better since I can break things down better.
Fantastic. Well, that makes me so excited to hear. And what I would like to remind you is that this time breakdown of 5 to 7 p.m. can be filled with all of the subtasks that you come up with in your breaking down large task worksheet.
Nice.
Exactly. So now that we've gone through all of that, do you have any questions whatsoever?
Nope, but I'm gonna try to remember to do my homework for next week.
Awesome. So speaking of that homework, would you like me to now go ahead and assign you a task that you could do for PAC?
Yes.
All right. So what I would like you to do is keep number one track of what subtasks you actually were able to get done for your video project.
Mhm.
And next, I would like you to try both a time analysis and a task analysis this week. So, what I want you to do is in one of these study slots from 5 to 7 p.m., you go ahead and keep a list of all of the tasks that you were able to complete.
Okay.
Perfect. And once you're done with that, next week we will talk about all of the different things you were able to do and why that 2 hour slot worked or didn't work.
Okay, sounds good.
Yay. Well, this has been such a good session, and I can't wait to see you next week. Bye,
Yes.
Hannah.
Bye.